Hey everybody. All right, here's what I have done on my bus the past couple days. So, I installed this uh, AC, rooftop AC here. It uses a lot of energy. I have that 400 amp hour battery. Well, check this out. So, I upgraded my engine. Let me get the lights on here. Upgraded my alternator. So, all right, this is a 90 amp alternator. It looks exactly the same as a 55 amp that would be the standard alternator. A generator was, I think it's like 35 amp or something like that, what came stock on these, but pretty much everyone switches to alternators now. So I had a 55 amp alternator, but I needed to not only charge my starter battery over here, but I need to charge that 400 amp hour lithium battery that I have, a Life PO4 battery. So I need more amps from the alternator. So I got a 90 amp alternator, and it only uses about a horsepower more, about a horsepower and a half more when it's at full 90 horsepower. And the cool thing about that is that when it's spinning, it's all magnets and everything, electromagnets. So it's only putting out the power that's drawing on it. So if you need the full 90 amps, then it's gonna be harder to turn. The engine works just a little bit harder. Like I said, like 1.5 horsepower. It's not a whole lot to turn it. But if you don't need that full amount, that full 90 amps, then it's not going to spin that much, or it's not going to have that much resistance on it. So the 55 amp alternator at 55 amps is the same horsepower needed as the 90 amp alternator needing 55 amps. Does that make sense? Okay, hope so. All right, so what I did was I replaced this, and I did it without pulling the engine. That's pretty hard to do, but what I did was I took the carburetor off, all the air cleaner, all that off. I undo the 4 bolts on the fan shroud, reach back behind it, put the 36 millimeter socket on there to get that nut off. And it's surprisingly not that hard to do. You stick a screwdriver here to keep this pulley from turning on this side, and then you, ooh, that is hot. And then you put this socket on the other side. Okay, so got that off, replaced the alternator, all good. Replaced the battery while I was at it, because the battery I had in there had the positive on the wrong side, so I got all that figured out. Put a new thing there, so new terminal. Went ahead and ran this while I was at it. I didn't have that hot air intake, that preheat hose there, so that's nice. And so I ran a fatter cable, since this is 90 going to there. You see I have a breaker right here that is a 100 amp breaker for the 90 amp alternator. I have another wire coming off the alternator that is a 60 amp, or that has a 60 amp breaker on it. These are breakers, not fuses. That way they just pop and you just reset them. All fat wires going 6 gauge off of the alternator. After this breaker here, I'm going to 8 gauge, going all the way underneath the bus and into the bus to the DC to DC charger. So you gotta have a DC to DC charger. Let me try to get some light here. I don't know if we're gonna be able to see this or not. I got my DC to DC charger back there. So that is that's so you can charge this battery and isolate it from the. I got my big 400 amp hour battery. That DC to DC charger allows you to charge that battery and isolate it from the starter battery, so you don't run your starter battery down. So now I'm sitting here. The new battery hasn't ran a bunch, so it should be sitting around 13. It's a 12.5, but I need to charge it because it's a new battery. And then I'm at 13.3 on my 400 amp hour battery, sitting at 84%. But if I drive for a little bit, it'll charge at 40 amps. So I got a 40 amp DC to DC charger off of that 90. So I have excess amperage now to cover that. For the 40 amp DC to DC charger is supposed to draw maybe up to 55 because there's some inefficiency there. So that's why I have a 60 amp breaker on that line. Okay. Does all that make sense? Well, it's pretty cool stuff on getting all this electricity stuff figured out on the bus. So got lots of excess power now. Hopefully it'll charge while I'm driving. And yeah, it's going to be cool stuff taking this on camping trips now. Okay, you have a good one.